So welcome to the Node.js Node add-on API team meeting for September 29th, 2023. We'll follow our standard approach of going through the things we have tagged for milestone 11 in the ABI stable repo. Before we get started, any news or anything like that that people want to share? The only thing I'll mention kind of is like I do have a talk at NodeConf EU that I'm talking about like how to build native add-ons in 2023. One of the things I think is kind of I just thought would be interesting to mention is in there I talk about like the ratio of usage of Node add-on API versus NAN, because like that's a long tail of people moving. And the numbers continue to sort of grow in terms of the ratios. I think when I looked last, it was like 12 million to 20 million. Now it's up to like 15 million to 20 million, right? So like, you know, it's still not 50-50, but like Node add-on API is growing, and, you know, you can easily see it matching NAN usage or surpassing it at some point in the future if the current trends. So anyway, I thought that was just interesting because that's like a number that I'm going to update for the talk before I go there.
On that note, last week we noted that Node Canvas was ported to Node API, so that supports your trend.
Yeah, and that was great because like thanks for putting that into the newsfeed issue, because that showed up through the newsfeed, which I think hopefully like it's nice to have that kind of news there, because and I'm just saying, like, being in the newsfeed, I actually noticed that already, whereas otherwise I might not have, which is great. Okay, we can move on then. I will share my screen, and that is this one. So, and I'm going to milestone 11. Yep. So, top of the list, tracking issues for V8 changes needed. So this was added last week. I don't know if either of you have context on that one.
Yeah, we need a V8 fix for this to be able to land, and so we want to track when the porting team decides to bring in a version of V8 that includes that change, so that we can hop on that and land this on top. So it's a dependency on V8.
In terms of supporting with older Node API versions, I mean, that means it couldn't be backported, right? Is that the, or is it something that used to?
Yeah. It's by my understanding, it's a bug fix, and yes, the bug needs V8. So I mean, unless that particular V8 patch can be backported, and whether it's worth the trouble, that's a different discussion. But in order for it to be fixed in the latest, we definitely need this fix. That is my understanding.
And then, but then it would possibly be only go out of experimental in like a new Node API version.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Okay. We already talked about what's new. I don't think there's any updates on the list of non-C language bindings, unless either of you have some more context on that. Nor on coverage or debugging of testing on add-ons. So if not, we can move to stale issues. And just going backwards. So, does Vladimir, you continue to work on this one? Anything we should discuss on that one?
Yeah, I guess it's kind of ready for review. And thank you, Gabriel, for a couple of rounds of review. I think I addressed all feedback so far. So I guess nothing else.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure my approval. I've been looking at it in the background, and I think my approval stands. You fixed it. Those are just minor nits that I had left over, and yes, you fixed those. So I'm good with this one.
So Gabriel, from your perspective, it's ready to go.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'd looked looked a bit, and so yeah, but I was waiting for Gabriel's thing, so I'll take another look, and that sounds good. Sounds like it's getting pretty much ready to go. Okay, then this one, which is okay, this looks like it's landed as well. And that's gone into proposal. Okay, so this added, so the question there then is, do we need to, oops, sorry, do we need to keep this one open or are we now done? I think we're done, right?
Is it the one we just discussed about V8 dependency, Gabriel?
No.
Okay.
I think this one did land. This is a different PR that did
Okay.
land. I'm not 100% sure. Chang Zhang could say best if there's anything outstanding on this
Okay.
one.
So maybe I will, I don't know if he'll get this, but okay, so we'll just put that there and that'll be a reminder. Maybe he'll comment. If not, we can ask him in one of the meetings where he is here. That's good. And then samples, anything else on stale things we should discuss? No, that's good. Let's take a look at issues in the repos. So actually, that's not what I do. So in terms of pull requests, this is one that if one or both of you could take a look at, would be good. I just noticed that like through the OSS scorecards, one of the things it looks at is the license. And it was giving us like 9 out of 10 because it didn't recognize the license for some reason. And when I went into the repo itself, I went here, and if I looked at the license, like on other ones, if I do the same thing on NAN, like, let me just show you. So NAN. GitHub actually recognizes, you see this part at the top? Like GitHub has said, hey, yeah, that's a recognized license. Whereas for us, it's not recognizing that. So even though it's MIT, I think just due to the formatting or something like that, like it had these extra lines and the copyright was slightly different. So I didn't change the license in any way other than just some reformatting with the hope that GitHub will now say, yeah, okay, I recognize that as an MIT license.
The last paragraph, I don't see the difference. Like,
I don't see any difference either. There is no intended difference. I think it must have to do with like,
oh, maybe
white
there was a
space.
carriage return or something, because the spaces are the same too. So
Yeah,
it must have been a carriage return at the end, or yeah, a carriage return. That's all I can think of.
yeah, that's what I was, I looked at that too and I was like, I don't know what it is, but I don't think it should matter.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This is reasonable. What is this? 1385.
Yeah. So I'm just hoping that one, once it lands, then it'll recognize it, and because that's always a good thing. Does that make sense? Any questions on that one?
Yeah, I wonder what rules they have to recognize it. We typically, I know that Microsoft, we have template which does not use Markdown for license.
Yeah, I don't know, but I went based on like the NAN one seems to pick it up. So
But
I don't know if it's like this extra line or it's these extra things or.
Might we want to upgrade the copyright to 2023? Because by my understanding, that's how it's usually done.
I don't know. I think I've heard some people are like, yeah, you don't bother changing it. Some people are like, don't even bother putting it in.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's good then.
yeah, I think in Microsoft template, we don't have ear at all.
Yeah. So like that I just, the change I made now is just formatting. I can easily argue that if I start to change like the date, it might get. So
yeah. Let's keep it separate.
unless
You're
there's
right.
something else, I'm hoping that those changes, like I might land that and the changes don't make it recognized, but I don't think it hurts anyway. But I'm hoping it will then let the template find that. Because this one has like, if we look at the view.
Yeah, I see it also has this.
Yeah, it has the same. So I changed it to be closer.
Yeah, effectively just remove these extra lines, which
Yeah.
are not actual text of the license or something.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Next one, Node API calls by Purity. Anything to discuss on that one this week?
We can, well, no, because like I'm waiting for Vladimir's PR to land, and then I'm gonna have a PR in core that we talked about last time, with adding the concept of like a pure NAPI env.
Yeah.
And once that lands, then I'm probably going to revamp this PR entirely to sort of plumb that into Node add-on API. So this is just kind of, it is in draft for that reason, because like the approach there is wrong. Like I'm basically copying the API and declaring some of it const, some of it not, but that's not the right way to do it. So I'm hoping to keep it open and then just revamp it and just do the right thing once we have support from the core headers.
Okay, sounds good. I'm going to look at issues. I don't think there's any new issues there. Any of these we should chat about or? Not, I will flip over to Node. Everything. This isn't super new, but I don't know if this has been discussed recently. I see there's some discussion back and forth, so I think discussions, unless you have something to add, that one's progressing, so. This one, I don't know if there's been too much discussion of. I guess the one, so I see you've approved that, Gabriel. We're pretty comfortable this isn't going to break any existing users, is that
Yeah,
that'd be my
I
only
think so.
concern. I don't really know enough, but
I think like last time we discussed it, and Cheng John said like he's going to look at it.
yeah. Okay, so so you're saying last week you discussed it and?
Yeah, Gabriel, I think sometimes my memory is not right, but I believe for last time Cheng John said that he would like to look at it before we merge it.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay, so maybe I'm going to comment this. And we will put a. We'll do that. How about that? Request a review. Comment there. Okay. And then nothing else is particularly recent. So any of these that we should chat about or discuss? We already chatted about this one, right?
Yep.
What about this documentation change? It probably stays for quite long already.
Right. Okay. So let's
take it or like. just caught my eye.
Yeah, okay, no, that's true. That one seems to have kind of stalled out. I guess I made him, maybe I'll at ping, like at. Maybe I'll, how long ago was that? That was.
2 years
Oh,
ago.
that's for a long time ago. I'm tempted to actually close it.
Yeah.
I'll take another look at that one. Like I'm tempted to close it since it's been like 2 years, but then I could take another look and submit a PR to, you know, if the documentation does look like it could use an update.
Yeah, it would make sense to make decision one way or another.
Yeah, okay. So I think that would be my plan, is like, my plan would be I'll close it, but then I'll go back and take a look at the doc, and just, if I think there's something that's like my suggestion makes sense, I'll just submit a PR on that one.
Okay, sounds good.
I'm just giving myself, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna close it. And I'm going to send myself a reminder to look at it and then do some follow-up.
Yeah, I think I agree with Anna on this one.
No, that's good. Any others that we should take a look at or discuss? Like here, user land transfer ball.
I just looked at this change. It's pretty much just simply says like length is excluding null terminator, but usually for all strings, as far as I know, all C functions never include a null terminator in the length. So, I mean, it's
Yeah,
up to
and
to do it.
yeah, and Anna's right. Like if you specify a length, maybe you want a null character in there. You know, like like null is not just a terminator; it's a byte like any other, right? And the flag, whether you say auto length or give a specific length, doesn't merely indicates whether the null character is to be treated specially or not, right? If you give a length, you're basically saying don't treat the null character specially, right?
Are we talking about the earlier one or
Yeah,
this?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
That's what I thought.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess on this one, I kind of wonder, it's been 2 years. It's not quite 2 years. It'll be 3 years in January. Oh, that's 2.5 years. It's like, should we, yeah. Maybe I'll just like. So like, is it reasonable to ask the question, like, should we keep this open?
Yeah, I think so. I'm trying to figure out, is this about adding hooks, like native hooks, so that native objects can be made transferable?
Possibly. It's like there's currently no way for userline code to define their own clonable transfer objects that work with message channel API.
Okay.
I guess this is the,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, we just make basic JavaScript objects with an API defined class. Okay, yeah, okay, I see. So this isn't actually an API change or an additional API. I think James is arguing that we should use node base object when creating classes. One thing though is, okay, yeah, so I'm wondering how we'd handle the like any native data associated with it. Like if you an API wrap something, you'd have to basically give the native add-on a chance to copy the native code to the object that is being transferred, because we don't know what native data is associated with the object. So the cloning would have to extend to the native side as well.
yeah. It's also like you have a different M in the worker versus.
Yeah, I think that's taken care of by base object, right? Because transferring it from one end to the other is
Okay.
the work of base object. But
Okay.
the associated native memory, in Node, like in the Node code base, Node controls what memory is associated with it. So a special case can be written for each type of Node internal object that needs to be transferred. But in our case, because we are providing a generic API for anyone to use, we basically have to give, like, in addition to the finalizer in an API defined class, we'd also have to ask for a copier that is responsible for serializing essentially whatever native data is associated with it, so that in the new environment, when somebody does an NAPI unwrap, they're gonna get, sane data back that was constructed by whatever means the add-on thinks is appropriate. So thinking of it like that, I'm not sure that we could use an API defined class. We'd have to have like a new API that says an API defined transferable class or something, which is
Right.
mostly the same, but accepts an additional callback for copying the native code.
Would be interesting.
I'm sorry, the native data.
It would be interesting to design this object in a way that it's not just one function, but maybe we could make it more extensible for future.
So it sounds like this still is applicable, right?
Yeah. I just need to have somebody look into it.
So
Okay,
technically speaking, we need somehow to provide some APIs so people can have ability to serialize and deserialize native state. Is it correct?
Yeah, that's my understanding too.
Or it's more like in C++ we have this copy constructor.
Yeah.
So
For what it's worth, on the native side, we have more power than on the JavaScript side, because transferable JavaScript objects need to be serializable. But on the native side, we know that they are threads and therefore share a memory space. So, we can just, tell the native add-on to, or like, for example, we could call we could call this new callback, the copier callback or copy constructor really, in such a way that we pass in the old data and we ask for the new data, because we know the old data is okay because it's in the same memory space as the new data will be, right? So the pointers will work, and we can lock it or protect it in some way against like concurrent access during the time that it's being copied, and then the new object will be alive and kicking in the new environment, right?
See. Technically speaking, if we have some kind of immutable native data, so just it will be just okay to kind of share it between two different cases. So it's not necessarily should be serializable. So
well, but if it's immutable, yes, then you're absolutely right. I don't know if we have the concept of that though, because we just have a void star, right? So an API unwrap returns a void star, which then gets cast to the right structure, right? It's if the native add-on treats it as const and treats it as immutable, that's great, but we don't give it to them as immutable, right?
yeah, that's so technically, like for example, share PTR in C++. So technically, coping of share PTR, it's really just incrementing ref counting, but you still point to the same object. So if this object happen to be immutable, so it should satisfy this thing.
Yeah, but I that's up to the add-on though. They can simply copy the pointer if they choose to, right? And knowing that for their particular use case, it is indeed immutable, right?
Right.
So we wouldn't be doing the copying. We would simply say, hey, whatever your concept of copying this pointer is, please apply this concept and give me a pointer that I can use with the newly created instance of this object in the new environment. That would be the semantics of this callback.
Right, and they could
Is what
just
I'm
give
thinking.
the exact same pointer back. if they want.
Exactly. That's right. Yes, they could. Absolutely. And they could use a shared they could use a shared pointer on their side, and we just get like the C pointer from that. And they are responsible for making sure that it works sanely in both environments.
Okay, makes sense. It's an interesting problem.
Yeah, the wide-ranging implications of worker threads.
Any of these others that look like ability to synchronously
Shared
drain
API
the red save
buffer.
function?
It's probably if we have this new pure finalizers, we can probably look into how to apply them in this scenario.
Okay, so this still makes sense. Just taking a peek at any of these to see if there's any others that we should.
Yeah, it should be probably related to this pure finalizers too.
Yep, this will be a big sort of chunk of relief when this lands, because there are a lot of issues which boil down to these pure finalizers.
Okay, so once that lands, we can then go through maybe some of these others. Maybe this one I see finalizers as well. Maybe we land that. Once that lands, then we can do a thorough look through.
It's what is Node API core consolidation? It's interesting.
Okay. The core, right.
Proposal last year by Chenjon.
Right.
I think that's part of his ideas already been implemented, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
So, but Chenjon probably did some of them.
So maybe we should say. Okay. Good. Any others that jump out at people?
Mm.
This one.
What is this Node API memory leak in ref-based delete?
Where are we?
4 yeah, there, yeah.
Go backwards.
I think Chenjon did a lot of refactoring around this area. I wonder if his changes supersede
Right.
this PR.
So maybe that's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
This one, I'm.
It seems like I need to answer some questions there.
Yeah, if you could take a look at that one and just see like, is it one that still needs to move forward, or I guess it looks like it will go stale on its own fairly soon. We don't
So,
do anything.
fell off my radar.
Yeah. Any others jump out at people?
No, I still need to make this progress, expose fast away create objects. There have been some proposals, but I didn't do much progress there. It's yeah, it's already been some time.
Yeah, well, can only do so much. Okay, well, if that's it, then I'll say, anything else we should chat about before we close out?
No, no other questions.
Okay, well, if not, thanks for everybody's time, and we will see everybody in GitHub in next time.
Yep, talk to y'all